Chat. No more school. Congrats. Doing it the right way. Has everything full screened on his living room TV with surround sound. That sounds awesome, dude. Can I come hang out with you, man? I wanna watch Starcraft, man, on a big screen, on a couch. That's what I want to do. Sounds sick. Gaulidaman, what's up, man? Saying, doubt it was a zealot flank. Probably just some misrallied units. You know, is it really misrallied when you're ever going in the direction of your opponent, or your opponent's base? Like, I don't even know if that's even ever a misrally. So it's interesting. I think it was definitely a nice move. Who else is in the chat? Who else is in the chat? We got Kagkasan3. What up? How's it going? Oh yeah, Patrick Stewart. Putting that on the big screen, 1080 plus. That's what's up. Hope you're enjoying it. Of course, I'm right here, but I'm a shadow. I'm a black silhouette on the city because the sun is very bright. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this game. We got a series on Ohana here, or a game on Ohana between Bisu and Sheth. Bisu is your red Protoss player in the top left-hand location. Bottom right, we got Sheth, the liquid blue Zerg player. This is New York City behind me, Mr. Josu JDT. Sheth going for a 14 pool, very standard indeed. Gonna follow that up with a hatchery, I would imagine. Got a probe, meandering around, thinking about stealing a gas, but realizing, you know what, that's probably not the best idea. Actually, that probe is probably never thinking that. That probe is thinking, you know what, this is kind of scary. I was the one selected to go explore. Why was it me? And now I'm gonna get slapped by that drone every time I try to block his hatchery. This is always a challenge for me, keeping this probe alive. Xylem asking, nice, when is New York City going to have an MLG tower? 2013. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I feel like an MLG tower would be very expensive, though, in New York City, honestly. Just have, like, the biggest skyscraper in New York and a big MLG logo on the top with a picture of my face. That'd be sick. I'll pitch that to the boss. Don't worry, guys. It's going to happen. Alright, Bisu. Taking that natural expansion. I'll be with a forge, gateway, and a cannon. We got Sheth not taking any gases, very standard, sending some lings across the south side of the map, making sure that no cannon shenaniganery is going to happen. Scouting around with this overload, see what he's looking out for. He's looking out for that forge gateway, going to be checking on the gases in the main. If they're not there, then, and Bisu has a core, then Bisu's, or I guess that's a gateway. If they're not there, that means there's like proxy 2 gates somewhere over here. But the gases are there. Sheth's going to verify that. Checking on the timings too. I mean, if it's earlier, obviously your Protoss opponent is going to be teching a little bit faster. Might be delaying the cannon, but the cannon was already in production. So very, very standard gas timing here. Sheth just peeking out. You know, Sheth could also be looking for pylons, because if you can spot a pylon at this point in the game as a Zerg, that's the place to check later for potential tech. So that's a nifty thing you can do as a Zerg player. Meanwhile, looks like that natural expansion finishing up here from Bisu. Cybercore, very interesting location. That is, I don't know if I like that location, to be honest. I feel like it could be vulnerable to like mutas down here. And like it kind of decreases mobility. And it's, I don't know. I'm okay with it. Right, so Sheth still no gases. Looks like we have, alright, we got a +1. Already a +1 being started here from Bisu. That implies he wants to be very aggressive very early. I think his first 100 gas was literally used, oh! Huh. He just canceled the +1. Interesting. Alright, we have a Zealot and a Probe. I have to think about that for a second. So he might have started it waiting for a Ling to come up and scout, because if the Ling scouts the +1, then all of a sudden Sheth has to start taking gases, has to start adding on a Roach Run and preparing for like 4-gate pressure. So that's something you can do, is start that +1 weapons upgrade. And then of course if the Ling catches a gander of that +1, and then backs off, and thinks something's going obviously to prepare, but then Beast can just cancel it, right? He can cancel it, and then the Zerg is like investing a bunch in the army and stuff, and then Beast is in fact investing into a later push, so his economy is going to be better, so that His push will be a little bit better later on, so a little bit of mind games could be happening there. Push could have been a misclick, but your first 100 gas, that's a pretty big misclick. You're gonna be following it up with the Stargate. And Sheth has 2 overlords having a conversation here, talking about the weather, and maybe there's some attractive females on the beach down there that they're talking about. Not sure. Those overlords can see all of that stuff. I don't even know. Do overlords have eyes? I don't know. A little bit unusual for Sheth to have 2 overlords there. Of course, we still got some nice fancy micro here from Bisu. Let's see what's been happening. Units lost 5 to 1, so it's 5 links. Sheth actually building so many links right now. Oh, and 60 more in production? This has to be a mistake. Okay, so either that or Sheth thinks that there's a third going behind this, because on Ohana, it's very difficult to engage in your opponent's natural expansion because Azella here and you're fine. Now, if speed finishes now and he can catch these Stalkers, it's worth it. But Bisu has 4 Stalkers here. And I think he made all these Stalkers in response to these links. But Sheth can know that Bisu made these Stalkers, which means he's not spending that gas on sentries, and he scouted up there, only saw 1 sentry. So he might know Phoenixes are happening. In fact, he definitely knows, because one of his Overlords is about to pop. Goodbye, Mr. Overlord. Oh, no. Bisu's going to come back and get that later. And now Sheth is going back into drone production. 58 drones, solid. Now, Sheth could have made those links because he thought it was a potential like core gate aggression or something like that. So not too big of a deal. But now he has to deal with these Phoenixes. 4 Phoenixes, very nice amount. We'll see this queen die as it was falling, which means 4 Phoenixes is like the perfect amount. This queen was weakened from before, which is pretty nifty. So you can take that out pretty easily. Sheth is trying to add on spores, but at this point, Bisu's killed 2 queens, now going up to 3. Kag San telling me to do a Gangnam style dance in shadow. I'll think about it. Just come hang out in the chat. Lots of cool people there. Bisu trying to just be a little bit annoying at this point. Already killing plenty of queens. Look at this unit's lost though. 1075 to 150 in favor of Mr. Bisu. Got an observer over here as well. Let's see who's going to follow this up with. Oh, Ling's coming by. That was a nice little run by from Sheth, but only killing 1 sentry. I liked how Bisu kind of ran away there with the sentries. Micro back, of course. No, I cannot hear myself. My voice is going to die if I keep doing this. So I'm going to turn down everything for me, but y'all should be able to hear it still. I'm trying to talk over the game sounds. Can really do a number on my voice. So let's stick tabs to things here. We got +1 weapons. Has finished. Going into Colossi production now. This is a little bit of a vulnerable time here for Bisu, considering he did invest a lot into those Phoenixes. And he invested a lot into those Stalkers a little bit earlier. So that means the sentry count is going to be as ridiculous as it would be. And he added his sentries on a lot later. So that means their energy isn't going to be as crazy as it could be. And Sheth had that counterattack earlier with the Lings, causing Bisu to expend all those force fields, which means all these sentries, like, there's not many force fields here. So that's why it's very important to wall off at this point. I would add on a couple cannons, probably 1 right here, maybe a second, but he wants to spend his money on other stuff. And Sheth has 8 investors in production at this point in time. Then the question is, will he be aggressive with those? I'd be okay with it. I'd be completely okay with it if he did. Upgrades, he hasn't done much. Got some barricades. So yeah, he's gonna make a lot of links here, and this could potentially. There are Colossus here, so I don't see this doing a ridiculous amount of damage. No, I don't at all see this doing a ridiculous amount of damage. Because, you know, with that Colossus represents so much DPS, of course, has the +1 upgrade. Thermal Lance is enough to finish, and there are enough sentries. Like 1, 2, 3 force fields should be enough, maybe 4. Back up, throw down the force fields, and then your damage with the Colossus. All those things just picked up and dropped. Got away with. Well, it's a burrow, so he might do an infested Terrans over attack, but again, Colossus, I do not. I like the idea though, trying to hit, because from Sheth's point of view, like, you're seeing all these Phoenixes, so you know the Robo Tech is going to be delayed, so you know the Boss Hire is going to be delayed. You can potentially do a lot of damage there. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Bisu getting that Colossus out just in time. And now he has a timing, because right now I feel like Sheth is pretty vulnerable until he can get Broodlords out. And speaking of which, his Hive hasn't started yet, his Spire has, so I'm wondering if that was a mistake, because generally you want to start the Hive and the Spire at the exact same time, because it takes the exact same amount of time to upgrade those. So we'll see if he makes that Hive soon. Or he could just invest very, very heavily. I want to watch someone's point of view. I need to relax. I don't want to obs right now. I'll obs in like a minute. I just need an obsing break. But yeah, what was I saying?
I'm here.
Yeah, he could just invest a lot into layer tech as far as a lot of corruptors. He might go to mutas, but he only has 700 gas.
Research complete.
Gonna get 2 gases at the 4th. And when you go for mutas, it's a great way to kind of come back, but Bisu has a ridiculous army. He's already at 178 supply, so I feel like if Sheth makes mutas here... Bisu also has 5 phoenixes, which can kill pretty much any amount of mutas if micro properly. So might just use these for corruptors to deal with the Colossi. I think that'd be the better option. Yeah, there's 12 corruptors. That's a nice decision, but his ground army isn't fantastic. We have 79 lings and 13 defenders, so he might have to rely on spine color defense here. He does have 2,000 minerals, so he could right now add on like 10 spines. But the question is, you have to find a good location for that, and then while you're adding on those spines, going up to Greater Spire would be a solid option, I think. We'll keep an eye on that. Bisu, meanwhile, hasn't necessarily spotted this vulnerability. I think he saw this as a lack of a hive. Saw the infestors, saw those units from earlier, so he knows that he saw all those lings and roaches from way earlier. That's a lot of essentially wasted supply at this point. Because remember, the lings attacked into his 3rd. 69 lings. That's a lot of wasted supply. So that makes Bisu's army that much better, because the Colossi just kill those lings easily, and all of a sudden he has a ridiculous amount of damage. So Bisu going to be attacking into his opponent's main base, and Sheth's going to try to engage this main army, but he needs to take out those Colossi incredibly fast. The Force Guild doing a decent job here from Bisu. Sheth trying to go on the fungals as well. Bisu attributing most of his supply into reinforcing his domain. And look at this, Sheth just absolutely rolling over this army for Bisu. A great display of getting rid of those damage dealers and then moving in with the rest of your army. Like, focus down those Colossi. I would love to see Bisu get more stalkers in the composition. I think it would be fine, but again, he was by warping in on his main base, which Sheth doesn't necessarily have an answer. But can Bisu hold off this aggression here from Sheth? Sheth is a 1 supply. Infestors are dangerously low on that energy. Only about 2 infestors have energy at this point in time. Bisu is going to try to blink away those stalkers. He's still alive. Something's not going to come from love. So Bisu needs to focus exclusively on building nothing but stalkers. At this point in time, stalkers is the best option, because he knows his opponent has all these corruptors in the air. So building a Colossus, I mean, what does that actually do? It's just going to die to the corruptor, right? So, and also he killed the lair, so he knows his opponent doesn't have a hive, which means doesn't have a Greater Spire, which means he can't make Broodlords. So what are these corruptors going to do? Sure, Sheth had a great engagement there, taking out Bisu's main army. But Bisu's doing a great job here. Okay, well, I think it would have been cool if he just went straight up stalkers, but again, with infestors in play, that can be tricky. So he's just gonna add on Colossi anyway, which makes me feel silly. But I mean, you'll see what I was saying. Like, you get the point I was talking about. I think it makes sense. But like, adding the Colossus is fine because he's adding on this 4th, so he has enough stalkers where he can potentially kill the corruptors anyway, and then the Colossi can do their damage. Or, you know, it could come down to micro, where if you position your Colossi away from the corruptors and then you blink your stalkers to target those down, then obviously your Colossi are going to be much more effective if you can do that. So to each his own. Bisu adding on 2 immortals. There could be an element of Bisu being like, you know what, I want him to think I'm still making Colossi, so he still has to worry about making corruptors. Risk per Idun says Eastern down game volume a bit. Okay. We got portions going down from Bisu. Corruptors trying to target fire down. And they are successful, but which is why I was really surprised Bisu made those. I would have loved those 2 Colossi to be 2 immortals. But he did make 2 immortals there, so after those two classics. So maybe that was a little bit of a miss. I don't know. You'll know, say. I do not know. Sheth has to rebuild everything. Building an infestation pit, 13 drones. Gonna try to engage up this choke point, 94 skills there. Not really definitely involved here. Fungal would be great at this point. I'm getting gain volume. Okay, I'll lower that. Thanks for the feedback, guys, in the chat. I really appreciate it. All right, so let me know if that helped things at least a little bit. So Bisu's still roaming around the map here. Has a great army. This is the army I was talking about before. Just the pure stalker. Some sentries mixed in. Some immortals. Completely ignoring the corruption. Again, this is a lot of wasted supply here for Sheth at this point in time. Of course, you could say, "Oh, but Axeltoss, he can do corruption." Sure. You can do that. Villego, Josu, Call Me, Dubs are saying it is all fixed. So is Philib, Villego, and Respiridon. Thanks for the feedback, guys. I've been told the audio is now perfect. Great. So let's get back into this game. Bisu up 200 to 176 in supply. Going to be advancing forward here with a pretty unstoppable army. We'll have to see what Sheth can come up with. Either A, he has to have a bunch of those spines, B, he has to have ridiculous fungals, or C, he has to hope Bisu just doesn't A-move. Bisu up in supply, 177, 164 at this point in time. The fungals are decent. Here come the infestors from Sheth. These need to be hero infestors. He has to be ridiculously efficient with these because once they run out of energy, these infestors are all going to die. There's a blink forward. And that's a great display of, you know, when you don't chain your fungals perfectly, the Protoss can just blink right on top of your infestors. And honestly, for Sheth, those infestors were his only way out of this game. Did all of them die? Maybe. There's a little bit of a glare on my screen. I don't know if they burrowed and got out of there. Let me check really quick. No, I think they all died. Unistab's just no more infestors on the field, so Bisu doing a great job taking those out. And I don't think there's anything left to stop Bisu from cleaning up this game. Awesome game from both sides, to be honest. A little bit of a recap. Bisu opened up with some light stalker pressure. Sheth invested a lot into Zerglings, and they were slowlings, which weren't really able to pay for themselves. And then Bisu followed it up with Phoenixes. I love the placement of Bisu's Stargate here in the main. In the back left. Very hard for an Overlord to scout that. In fact, I don't think an Overlord ever saw that. Yeah. So he was able to hide the Phoenixes and then came out with 5, got 3 queens for free. Also important to note, he made sure to recognize the queen he damaged earlier in the game with the Stalkers, and then later on targeted those down with the Phoenixes. So really cool play there from Bisu. And then backing up, getting the Colossus out. Of course, there's kind of a period of vulnerability there where he only had about 3 sentries, 4 Stalkers, a Zealot, and he was checking to Colossi, trying to take his 3rd base. I think that probably would have been the optimal timing there for Sheth if he had decided to engage there. But Bisu able to stay alive long enough. Now, because Sheth was going for infestors, it's like that was his plan. If he had changed his plan, just go Massling Roach to try to deal with that period of vulnerability, that might have been a better option. But if your opponent can get Colossus out in time to deal with that, it can be very scary indeed. Very scary indeed, especially with a player whose micro is as good as Bisu. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more unseen, never-before-seen replays from the Major League Gaming vs. Pro League Invitational. My name is Axeltoss. I promise I'm on camera, but it's like the sun is doing stuff. I don't know math. That's not math. It's physics. Meteorologist. Art. Hue. Tone. I don't even know what that would be described as, but the sun is creating a shadow or something. Or maybe contrast, or maybe it's like a camera thing. Directorship. Alright, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more replays from the MvP Invitational. Don't go anywhere.